Hi folks, and welcome to A&P with Dr. O. In today's video, we're going to take a look at structures associated with the male reproductive system. We can go ahead and start here with the testes, or testis would be singular. So we have one testis here, and it is going to be surrounded by this pouch, which is the scrotum. Sperm will be made in the testis, and then it will then move to the epididymis, where it is temporarily stored and protected before the sperm makes its way through the vas deferens, also known as the ductus deferens. And the sperm are then going to be making their way towards the ejaculatory duct, which we'll look at in just a moment. Other structures we can see from this view, we can see the prostate gland, and then we can see the seminal gland, also known as the seminal vesicle. We can see the penis here. The head of the penis is going to be known as the glans. And then covering the glans is going to be the prepuce, or foreskin. So we have the penis, and then if we focus just on the head of the penis, we have the glans, and then you can see this outer covering here of the glans, and that is going to be the prepuce. Let's go ahead and open up the model so that we can see some additional structures. We're now looking at a sagittal section of the male reproductive system. We can still see part of the scrotum here. Here's our testis. We can see our penis still, but now we have exposed the erectile tissue. Let's go ahead and find the bladder. And that'll make a little more sense in a minute while we're kind of starting with the bladder here. So let's find the bladder, and then that's going to help us find the urethra. And then we can trace the urethra down and all the way until the point of exit, which would be the external urethral orifice right here, this exit point. So once we find the urethra, we can see that there is erectile tissue on either side of the urethra. That erectile tissue is known as corpus spongiosum. And then we have this erectile tissue here, which is known as the corpus cavernosum. Sometimes that is also called the corpora cavernosa. We can still see the prostate gland as well. We can see that part of the urethra does go through the prostate. And then off to the side here, we can see the ejaculatory duct. Let's switch to another model, just so that we can visualize a couple structures that we don't really get to see on this particular type of model. Here we have another sagittal model. We can see several of the things that we saw in our last model, including testis, and then sitting on top of the testis, we had the epididymis. We can see the penis as well, with the glans. We've got, again, the bladder, and that helps us find the urethra. So we can see the urethra, follow that. And then that exit point is the external urethral orifice right there. We can see, just like on the other model, part of the urethra runs through the prostate. And then that allows us to see the ejaculatory duct again as well. Something we couldn't really see on the other model was this very small gland, the bulbourethral gland, bulbourethral gland right here. And then if I turn the model just a little bit to take a look at the scrotum better, the scrotal cavities are going to be separated by a structure known as the raphe. On this model here, we can really see that indentation there, that separation that would separate one scrotal cavity from the other.